Hello everyone, welcome to some CCS action. My name is Lindor, I'm here with Orion. We are jumping right onto the Rift for some VOD gameplay here. We have Hard Hat Zone on the red side, Team Ambition Knight on the blue side. And Orion, both these teams starting off strong here in the CCS, 2-0 on the season. See who comes out on top here, as we do have an invade here. Dredgelide coming forward, Snowlife will have to flash, follow-up from Bennett will not be there. Nice, 5-man route will keep him alive.
Yeah, a bit ambitious after the hook lands. Like once Seraphine flashes away, she can very easily leave the situation. So going for those extra flashes probably not very necessary there. Overall, Mooncake very often willing to use his flash to burn Seraphine's flash. Very immobile laner, very easy to gank, especially with Llama being on this Graves. He can very easily come down there within the 5-minute flash timer cooldown to very easily expose on that Seraphine. So definitely not the end of the world that we trade flashes there, but I think Llama's flash was a little unnecessary.
Yeah, 2 flashes for 1 ends up being a positive summoner spell trade there for Snowlife and Team Ambition. They've also managed to sneak their way into the jungle here. Reedy and Kobe wanting to take this red buff, but Llama is here, has spotted out, is now going to call his solo lanes over. An alternative,
Though. Victory is in mid lane, so if
alternative
Camille's
will
over the
be
wall.
the first one here. Bennett over the wall will land the stun. Kobe now might be the target. Whoever gets this smite will get level 2, but Ready just getting burned down. Llama gets the smite. Llama gets level 2 and gets the first blood.
Yeah, that's just pretty bad there for TA Knight, Alternative, willing to miss the first couple of minions to say, hey, I can make this a 3v2. We can very easily win this. And then also Reedy not having flash, opting in for the ghost, which is typically really good on Hecarim. Not able to get away from that situation. So first kill on the board for Hard Hat.
And what we've seen out of this Hardhead squad so far this year, Orion, is their team play and coordination has been so good. And so giving this team an early game lead on types of champions that have some early game agency with this Camille, sure, maybe Graves farms a little bit more, but I want to see what they can do with an early game lead, if they can extend this. Yes, it's a small lead. Yes, it's just first blood, but I want to see exactly what they can do with some of these early game advantages that they can gain for themselves.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Hard Hat Zone definitely was the best team in lock-in by a lot. I mean, overall, we're looking at a bot lane trade here. Not a whole lot coming out of it, but with the Olveric, getting very low on the Sivir. But Sivir would be able to farm with range, so not too bad there. But yeah, Hard Hat Zone definitely showed a lot of prowess in the lock-in tournament. Very good in that tournament as well. We see alternative trading in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, they were our lock-in champions, of course. They're looking to continue to show their prowess here in this one. Definitely a strong team in the lock-in, and of course moving forward into this game. And as they continue to, make their way through the CCS lock-in, I'm excited to see, some more of these unique picks coming out from them. We've got Big Boy playing the bot lane, Vel'Koz, Annie in the mid lane, something we've seen out of Alternative, but not a lot of other teams are playing. So some of these unique picks, I think, are something to look forward to for this squad.
Yeah, I remember Hard Hat Zone, Jack and Mooncake was playing a lot of Nautilus in the lock-in tournament, so we definitely know how to do that as well. We do see Seraphine not having flash yet, so this could be a potential kill here.
Llama is going to be exhausted, trying to find some solitude here under the tower. Will be able to remain safe for the time being, just with the usage of that exhaust. And
overall, trying to replenish the Seraphine lane there. Seraphine does have the exhaust, so it doesn't actually lose a whole lot of HP there. And Big Boy does get chunked down as well. But along with the Sivir, Vel'Koz is able to farm with range on a huge deal. Stun lands on mid lane here. Graves is around.
Flash away from the smoke screen. Lots of flashes being burned here, as it is Llama able to kind of get in on the action here. Did manage to full clear down towards his bot side, did skip Krugs, so now heading back towards that top side. Going to pick up these Raptors, I'd imagine pick up his Krugs, and then look to grab a reset. With that first blood money under his belt, hasn't been able to spend anything up just yet.
I think so far, early game, besides the one kill in the red buff, everything's going kind of slow. Llama getting potentially pinched here, though.
Ooh, yeah, doesn't have his mid laner here at all. Just trying to walk through, a little bit greedy there. Is going to be all right. Has the dash to get away from that one. And so, Orion, as we do kind of get into a little bit of an early game lull here, not a lot of action happening on the map, looking at these team comps as a whole, because we obviously didn't get to look at the draft today, we were just kind of jumping right in here. what do you like to see from either side here? Do you like the early game advantage and how Hard Hat are playing out this early game? And then for the other side, this kind of scaling composition that we're seeing, what do you want to see out of that side for Team Ambition Knight?
Yeah, I definitely think TA Knight is definitely looking to, hit the 25-minute marker, not trying to lose the game before then. But that's kind of Hard Hat's whole thing. Hard Hat has been a team that has been very, very aggressive and wants to win these games around 20 to 25 minutes. And a team that is like very exceptional at being like just very strong laners and being able to take their leads individually and propel themselves forward. So if TA is able to survive their early game power and just say, hey, our champions are just better than yours past 25 minutes, I think TA can actually do very well in this game. But I definitely do like the aggression that Hard Hat Zone can have with the Camille diving in, all those Dragon Mooncake landing all of his ultis, and then with Big Boy being able to just laser them down behind on the team fights.
I love seeing Dragon Mooncake, like you say, on these playmakers. We've seen this player just show so much aggression, and so seeing them on a pick like the Nautilus, which can get in the action, can find engages, can really lead the team in that way, I think is definitely important for this squad. And while we have seen, kind of a similar composition here, we've seen the Vel'Koz in the bot lane before, we've obviously seen Dragon Mooncake on the playmakers. They've also played some other styles too, right? It's not like they're going to be a one-trick pony type of squad here. I think they have multiple styles that they can go for, and they've already shown that. On the other side, though, TA Knight, they're a team we haven't seen as much of here, is actually going to be a gank here into the mid lane. Alternative does have flash available, can be able to burn that one. Now Tibbers is just right on his head. Reedy's under tower. That's not where you want to be. Goodbye.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for Reedy, going just a little bit too deep there. Alternative, as soon as the tower ticks on him, casts Tippers, landing the stun, not being able to move from that position. So, a good attempt by Easy and Reedy here going for the Annie. Annie did have flash. I don't know if there's a miscommunication there, whether or not she had flash available, because I think if Annie does have flash, that gank is really hard to pull off since he was on the opposite side of the lane and Reedy had to go so deep just to even catch up to the Annie. But, a really good CS lead being built up here by Easy, up 15 CS at 7 minutes is very, very good. But also Llama, a champion that isn't typically known for like just being able to power clear the jungle as easily as Hecarim can because of his Q cleave. He's doing a really solid job here because of Hecarim's 2 deaths so far.
Yeah, he just used the collateral damage, the Graves ultimate, to steal away a couple wolves there. So really just trying to focus on keeping this XP and this farm lead above his jungle counterpart. Now wants to go for mid lane. He knows he doesn't have flash, so the smoke screen will be down. That's going to be the stun, and the Q comes through. Shotgun to the back of the head. Easy goes down here for the first time in this game. And this is going to give Alternative the option to try and catch up in the CS department, maybe knock a couple plates off here, is instead going to opt to help Llama out on another invade. I'd love to see this jungle mid duo pairing up for some of these invades, and it looks like, they're just straight up going to push Reedy off of his own red buff and take control of this side of the map.
Yeah, and especially it's one of the big reasons.
Top side, though, Kobe gets his ultimate dodged by Bennett with a nice use there of the Hextech ultimatum, able to take down the easy kill, and now 4-0 for the Hard Hat Zone gamers.
Yeah, really well played from Bennett there, knowing that you can actually dodge out on that Orin ulti with the ultimate as well. Very, very solid play from Bennett there. But yeah, overall, it's like whenever you lose your mid laner like that, the jungle really doesn't belong to you anymore. The mid laner can just walk in the jungle with his own and say, hey, you back off the camp or I'll kill you again. And with Hecarim already having 2 deaths, especially with him trying to steal away the red buff, and he didn't even get the red buff at level 1, which is like really, really bad for him. So like, basically, Llama has been like 2 to 3 camps up this entire game. Alternative, looking at mid again, though.
Ooh, he just has so much damage. It is going to be Reedy trying to make some sort of a hero play, but the auto will come through and take him down. Can Reedy get the trade kill? One more auto will do it. Yes, we'll be able to claim that one. Tibbers is getting angry here, trying to chase him down, but Reedy is a little bit too fast for that bear boy, and it is just going to be a 1-for-1 trade there for your mid laners.
Yeah, I think if Alternative actually was able to get back his stun up there, he could have actually potentially traded that kill onto Reedy there, but had to use the stun to kill the Victor. Does trade 1-for-1, so Hecarim is doing a little bit better about himself going for that kill there. But while he is investing that time to kill the mid laner, Llama investing his time to kill the dragon and continuing to increase his lead that he already has in this game.
Level 8 to level 6 now is the jungle matchup. We're seeing some XP leads here in both solo lanes as well in the favor of Hard Hat Zone. Really just executing well in all lanes. I mean, Bennett up here in the top side has a 20 CS lead into the Ornn. Obviously, we talked about the lead in the jungle, and while Alternative, yeah, sure, he's not able to wave clear as effectively as this Victor, and is falling behind is actually Mooncake. Gonna find the ultimate, gonna find the pull, and that's gonna be the laser over the top. Not quite gonna have enough damage, as I'm having a little bit of a spectator delay here. Not sure if we're getting that on stream as well. We'll maybe have to... Okay, some technical difficulties here. The VODs don't seem to like us. Riot, please. Just give us a second here, guys. We'll try and figure this one out. I'm also seeming to crash here.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Big Boy, as we just saw, he wasn't quite in range to land up his knockup with Dragon Mooncake going for that specific play. If Vel'Koz was a little bit closer, I think Snowlight just gets chain CC'd to his death, even though he does have Flash. Yeah, we are experiencing some form of a pause. So far this game is going fairly well for Hard Hat. We're seeing a lot of individual plays happening across the map. Some questionable decisions from TA, opting in for some ganks that probably weren't going to work, but they did them anyways. But right now, we see very solid CS leads in the top and the bot lane. Bot lane sitting almost close to 30 CS lead. Top lane sitting at 23 plus CSD at 10 minutes, which, if you have your side lanes winning this strong in the game this early, the gold lead is going to just continue to blossom, which we're seeing right here at 10 minutes with a 3k gold lead for Hard Hat.
Yeah, pretty massive lead there just at 10 minutes. Do have the Dragon under their...
Everybody panic! Hold on! I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Ah, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
All right, everybody, we are back with some more League of Legends action. Apologies for the delay there. Seems there's a bug with Vel'Koz ult in the spectator client, so that's a fun one. Hopefully that won't be happening again. No more big lasers on my screen, please. And we'll see how it goes. But it is Hart Hat Zone still in complete control of the game. Like we were just talking about a 3,000 gold lead, and they're doing pretty well through the early stages.
Yeah, not really sure how a Vel'Koz laser will disable the client like that. Like, that's kind of messed up, right? We do see Alternative trying to go forward, misses the stun, and Reedy is here.
Reedy is here for the return gank. Is going to get Alternative with the Onslaught of Shadows. Easy will be able to clean up the rest of that kill fairly easily, but oh my goodness, Llama and Dragon Mooncake are here waiting in the wings. Able to turn it back around, turn that one into a 1-for-1. Orion, Vel'Koz's ultimate is called Lifeform Disintegration Ray. Maybe it should be called Spectator Client Disintegration Ray. I don't know.
Oh, it definitely disintegrated the client right there. I mean, the second we saw the laser come out, the client just kind of got destroyed there for a second, you know. Big Boy being able to 1v2 this lane, you know, fairly easily due to the amount of range that Vel'Koz does have. So Dragon Mooncake is enabled to move around the map very easily. You know, he is potentially, you know, maybe to go back towards the bot lane here soon so that he doesn't get dove. But it does look like Sivir is actually going in the river. Maybe just going to get deep ward. But overall, you know, we are, you know, heading in a pretty medium state here. You know, not a whole lot of action happening besides the attempt to Alternative had in the mid lane. And everyone's just kind of resetting, going back to clearing their camps, and potentially waiting for this dragon to spawn in about 2 minutes maybe, because Alternative doesn't have Tibbers anymore. Reedy used his Hecarim ulti to go onto the Annie. We could see a pick on Dragon Mooncake though.
Just have to be a little bit careful. Flash over the wall from Alternative. They just want to hit the go buttons. That's the Lifeform Disintegration Ray. Please don't disintegrate my client. No, Riot. Oh man, they are gonna clean up this team fight. It looks like just immediately eviscerating Snow Life there. But unfortunately, the main death in this engagement is.
Unfortunately, you know, this is a pretty big problem. Not gonna lie, because basically what has to happen is we have to completely reset the entire. Like everything, a complete shutdown in order to get back to this moment. But yeah, you know, Alternative, you know, being able to use his flash over the wall, even though his Tippers was on cooldown, they felt like they could just burst the enemy Seraphine before anything major happened. Not sure why Snowlife actually got so close up into that bush though, because you know, Seraphine is with range, she can very easily just poke out and throw her ultimates and allow Reedy to face check the bush going over. So unfortunately for Snow Life, they're getting a little bit too close, getting a lot of the brunt damage from Alternative and Big Boy at the same time, and does result in Snow Life's death.
It sure does. All right. we will have to potentially skip this game and move on to the second game of this series. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. There's not really a real fix for this. Like Orion says, every time this Vel'Koz ultimate is on our screens, it seems like we just have to completely reload the client and stuff like that. So, spoiler alert: Hard Hat Zone do come away with the victory here in game 1. And we will take another short intermission. Please, no Vel'Koz in game 2, everybody. We'll move on to that one here in a second. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Game 2. That was the fastest Game 1 of the CCS of all time. We've got the players switching sides. Hard Hat Zone now on the blue side. Team Ambition Knight now on the red side. I'm Orion. I'm not Orion, but Orion is here, and I am Lindor. And we've got Game 2. Here we go.
We do indeed have game 2. Unfortunately, Vel'Koz was having way too many problems with his spectator disintegration array. But we are looking at a potential invade here with the Braum. Braum, very strong, powerful 1v1 level 1 champion. With Braum, he basically stunned the entire team if he wanted to after a couple of autos. Trying to get some information here, figuring out where the Grags could be starting. I don't think an actual ward was placed. I think it was just a Jarvan flag. Maybe Llama's hanging around so he can place the ward himself. It does look like it got placed by Llama. So we'll potentially have some information whether or not he starts top or bot due to that ward being placed. But overall, we do see the same ward being placed by TA Knight on the blue buff itself.
Yeah, Kobe able to get in there and get that cheeky ward down. So we should have at least assumed information here of the jungle starts. It is going to be Llama starting on his red buff, grabbing a leash there, Reedy rather on the other side, grabbing a leash from Kobe. And Orion, as we do kind of get into this one, I want to talk about these team comps as a whole, because it's a little bit of a different look here from Hard Hat Zone. They're kind of going for a more traditional 5v5 team fighting composition here. Kind of got the R's to layer over the top with the Cataclysm, the Call of the Forge God, and of course the Glacial Fissure, and then the kind of the traditional backline carries here in the Rise and the Bane. Over on the other side, though, kind of fairly similar. They've got some meatballs, a couple mages there in the backside, and the Jhin. So is there a team comp here that you prefer, Orion? Which do you give the edge to?
I'm very interested to see how big of a lead Snowlife and Yulveric is able to bring in this bot lane because
Right.
both champions, Jhin and Xerath, should be able to dominate this lane going against Vayne and Braum. You know, two champions that aren't typically known for their laning ability, more for their like team fight and like kind of scaling up ability, being more useful in that sense. So if they're able to pull a big enough lead and potentially put Vayne really, really far behind, Vayne could be potentially quite useless in this match. But I definitely do like the scaling options that Hart Hat do have this game. It is a very different look to what we're used to seeing. It's not really the champions that want to win the game by 20 minutes. It's champions that prefer 25 minutes plus, you know, sitting around at 2 to 3 items. So interested to see if they're looking to use their early aggression with this Jarvan.
Yeah, that is the early aggression coming out. Flash EQ is going to land. That's going to be the route from the Rise, but easy with the Flash. Will get himself out of there. That's a very valuable Flash trade there for Llama. He knows now, anytime pre-6, he can now return to this mid lane and probably have a pretty easy gank there onto the Ahri.
Yeah, not only that, is you also push Ahri out of lane, being forced to use the TP as well. So she's able to keep up in minions here. If Jarvan is able to return, you know, most of the time you're able just to say, oh, I can just TP back, I don't lose that much. It's not a big deal. But Jarvan now has a 5-minute timer to say, if I kill you again, I'll put you really far behind. So
what do you think about
see how that plays out?
What do you think about this TP summoner spell on the Ahri? Because I think we've seen some more aggressive options out of this new Ahri, maybe a little bit more commonly. So obviously the TP, you know, maybe provides a little bit of extra, not safety, but a little bit extra leeway in the mid lane, actually. Okay, Llama here in bot side. Reedy is going to spot him out with a little bit of counter gank here, but they still want to go for it, trying to force this onto Yulveric, who has the flash away, but he's just going to get stunned up. All of the damage coming through onto the AD carry Big Boy now with the cleanse, with the flash. Going to get himself away from Reedy, who now, with the double body slump, is going to turn it back around. Reedy, 100 HP, limps away. Big Boy gets tagged up with a stun. Snowlife, one more auto, flashes for it, and gets the kill. 2 for 1 on the bot side here. Team Ambition able to take a little victory.
Yeah, really good job by Reedy, you know. Examining the play, thinking, hey, Llama could potentially be here. My bot line's a little bit pushed up, so I'm going to try to play for this counter gank here. You know, really unfortunate for the Yulveric there, not able to land the root off of Gragas' body slam, so it does end up resulting in his death because of the flag and drag onto him. But overall, you know, 2 for 1, really good job, you know, by them being able to counteract that pressure because, you know, Jarvan is the kind of champion that does want to be very aggressive, take away a lot of these early flash timers, make sure it's easier for his teammates to lane, especially with a lane like Vayne Braum. You really want that lane to be much safer and being able to scale into that late game. So for Llama's side, you know, even though the result was a 2 for 1, all 4 summer spells did get blown on the side of TA Knight. So potentially could see a regank in the next 5 minutes, along with the regank in the mid lane as well, as we do see alternatives starting to win out on some of these trades against Easy.
Yeah, definitely multiple options here for Llama to now turn his attention towards. Dragon has now spawned, is on the map, so if he does get one of those kills in the mid or the bot lane, that will likely be the prize, so definitely a little bit of extra incentive there as well. And you talked a little bit, Orion, about this bot lane of Yulveric and Snowlife wanting to get the advantage in the early game. And so for here, yeah, okay, they grabbed a couple of kills there with the counter gank from Reedy. They were able to turn that one around. Unfortunately, though, none of those kills went onto the Jhin. He died himself, and other than, you know, a couple assists to the Vayne's kill, is not really garnering an advantage for himself down here just yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Goldie is actually like very even between these two, as we do see Easy not having Flash being blown up by Alternative, being just very disrespectful to this Rise's damage. Yes, he is a late game champ, but the champion still does damage. And we just take him into the wall.
Condemn into the concussive blows is going to be in Snowlife, will be going down. No flash on that Xerath, and now Yulveric has stopped too far forward. He wanted to get the 4th auto onto Big Boy, but Big Boy baits it masterfully, and they will get the 2 for 0.
Oh, Yulveric trying to go for the sneaky kill, but you can't just walk through Llama and Dragon Mooncake like that. Two champions that are just going to not allow you to ever hit the Vayne, and Big Boy doing a really fantastic job being able to stand just far enough back, say, hey, you can hit me, haha, hoo. You know, not able to secure the kill there, and it is a 2 for 0, which is going to really help out this lane, because once Big Boy and Dragon Mooncake hit level 6, it's a lot easier for them to play, because they can very easily threaten the Jhin and the Xerath, so they're not going to constantly be pushed underneath their tower like they have in this whole game.
And now looking at that gold lead in the bot side, Orion, you're talking about how it was even earlier. Now, it's actually the Vayne 500 gold ahead here. So really, Big Boy doing a fantastic job to survive through the early onslaught of this range poke damage from the Jhin, and the Xerath has been able to keep even in CS, and now 2 kills to his name. This Vayne is a little bit off to the races here. Obviously has to scale up a little bit more. It is still a Vayne, but this is an early game that you like to see out of the scaling champions like this.
Yeah, and this game is continuing to look just a lot worse and worse on the side of TA Knight here. You pick a bot lane, Jhin Xerath, that's supposed to go very high up in CS, push in the Vayne constantly, have good ward coverage to where you can't get ganked by Llama, but unfortunately they haven't quite been able to do that, and ultimately the Vayne and the Braum will be a lot more useful in these team fights than Jhin Xerath will be for the rest of the team. And then even in this top lane battle right here, what we're watching currently, we're watching a lane where both champions have gotten no assist from either jungler, and we see one tank is 20 CS up on the other tank, and that's going to be a really big factor in these team fights because for tanks you want to have a whole lot of gold so that you can buy a whole lot of items, get super durable. And if you just don't have those tank items, you're not even Cho'Gath. But he might be a huge champion, but he's not going to be very tanky if he doesn't start getting his gold up.
Ben is just going to have so many more resistances, right? I mean, he's building up some items here now already, looking to get towards that tank mythic already. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the rest of this composition for TA Knight, because it really was all the eggs in this bot lane matchup. I mean, Ahri into the Rise, maybe you have some pick potential and some gank assist there, but so far hasn't been the case in this game. You already touched on the top lane matchup. Kobe struggling here a little bit in the Ornn versus Cho'Gath. And so really it is all about this bot lane, and we're seeing them struggle a little bit here as well. So for TA Knight, where do you kind of look to as moving forward in this game? You find yourself at, just over 1,000 gold deficit and really nothing going your way so far. How do you kind of stay focused and try to keep your eyes on maybe a win condition here?
I think one thing we can definitely look to do here is use Ahri's playmaking potential. Both Alternative is doing a pretty good job of just perma keeping this Ahri in lane as much as she can, so where she can't just roam around the map and affect it a whole lot. Bennett is chunking down Kobe fairly a lot here. We could see a roam up by the Rise if he's able to push out the lane, get a pretty free kill on this guy, especially with Bennett having his ulti up as well. But I think with Ahri's playmaking and also Gragas's playmaking as well, you can very easily land a charm into an explosive cast that is able to just chain CC someone to death if it were to land. But if this game is continuing to be just a stall out games where both teams are perfectly content with farming, I like Hardhat's position a lot more than I like TA Knight's position.
Absolutely, yeah. Really piloting these champs well, and we've seen, I talked about it a little bit last game, we've seen Hart Zone just coordinating so well with all 5 of their players. They're a team that's been together for quite a while here, and we are going to see another gank here into the bot side. Dragon Mooncake going forward, Snowlight with the early flash, but oh no, he's just lined him up. Flag and drag lands onto 2, put him in the baby cage, and there will be no surviving for the TA Knight bot lane. Reddy is here to try and do what he can. Flash body slam is only going to land onto Mooncake, though. Oh, the cask won't quite find Big Boy. Easy will be able to get in there and pick it up, but now he's kind of just alone in the middle of 3. Concussive blows stacking up on him. Mooncake with the flash wants to survive, will be able to shield. Just barely. And Hard Hat Zone once again get the better of the skirmishes.
Yeah, really good job by Hard Hat Zone. Overall it was a 4v4 fight, but the advantage went to Hard Hat Zone, having a very well done engage by Llama, hitting the 2-man flag and drag into the Cataclysm, guaranteed the bot lane just got blown up immediately. Unfortunately for Yulberic, opting into flashing into the what's that called? My mind is blanking on the bottom part of the map.
Oh, the alcove.
Yeah, the alcove. For some reason, I couldn't think of it. So flashing into the alcove, thinking that he could stall enough time for Reedy to get there. Ultimately, it does end up just wasting his flash, and Jarvan can very easily come back in the bot lane again. We are seeing a bit of a tank duel up in the top side. Bennett opting into just dying because he can't actually get away here. Kobe does have Feast up, so he does secure the stack on that. So, ultimately really good for him. But it does look like Alternative is looking bot lane still.
Yeah, still in the area, is going to dodge away from the Deadly Flourish. Kind of has Dragon Mooncake and Llama in his back pocket. The curtain call has been interrupted immediately, and it's just going to be Snow Life going down as well. He just hits the S key, says, yeah, all right, I'm a dead magical boy, and will be going down. Yeah, Bennett getting punished there on the top side, trying to maybe proxy a wave a little bit, but it doesn't matter, because the rest of his team continuing to make plays on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, this game is looking pretty over already, even though it's only 12 minutes into the game. You have the scaling of Rise, the scaling of Vayne. No innate lockdown CC onto a
Yeah.
champion like Vayne is already looking troublesome anyways. But when you're just so far behind at 12 minutes, this game is going to continue to look very rough. It's definitely up to Easy and Reedy to kind of say, hey, let's look for picks. Let's try to go around the map together, potentially look for our ultimate abilities so we can catch people out. But for right now, the game is very much in Hard Hat Zone's hands to control.
Some bounties building up here. 3-1 and 6 for the Jarvan. 3-0. Deathless here on the rise is alternative, and of course, Big Boy on the Vayne doing his part as well. Trying to build up towards that Mythic. I'm expecting that to probably be a shield bow here for the Vayne, and otherwise kind of just seeing some Mythics start to trickle in here. Everfrost for the rise is also stacking up a tier there on the top side, and otherwise just okay, Gore Drinker now finished, and a couple bits and pieces here and there for the rest of the squad.
Yeah, we are seeing potential play down here in the bot side with Reedy just kind of hanging out, maybe thinking, hey, Llama could be back here. Both of my bot laners have no flash. Cataclysm was like basically guaranteed death. But we do see alternative. Having the Everfrost built up could look for a kill.
Woo! Easy's got some dashes to get away. Just a sliver of HP. Now the Rise ultimate coming in. It's going to chase Easy off. And now Bennett, can he find the collapse here onto the bot side? No dashes available for Easy. Yeah, Call of the Forge God is just going to claim it. He was silenced, so he didn't get the second half, but it doesn't even matter. And now they're looking to chase forward. Kobe, though, with the flash, will be able to find some safety for now. Big Boy is staying behind Dragon Mooncake, tanking up the Curtain Call bullets, and both will be pretty all right here. Now it's going to be the Glacial Fisher going forward, but Big Boy looking a little worse for wear. Maybe a bit of a miscommunication there between the Hard Hat Zone bot laners, but not going to be punished here too bad. Just going to have to walk away and miss a wave under tower.
Yeah, and this is really what we wanted to see like throughout the entirety of this game instead of at 14 minutes when they're already so far behind. We wanted to see the pressure that Jhin and Xerath does have in this game. Ultimately, Riplef does go over to Jarvan there with a good smite. So, you know, Reedy continuing to lose out on a lot of these circle camps and a lot of these matchups throughout these two games. But, you know, I do think that Hard Hat Zone is perfectly okay with they're not particularly looking to scale up into this game and say, hey, we want to win this game by 25 minutes. No, this team is perfectly content with just saying, hey, the later this game goes, we are big chilling. Llama re-entering back into this mid lane.
Oh,
no
man,
flash,
he knows
no
he's... Yeah, no flash, no ult. He just presses R and says, all right, Alternative, finish him off, buddy. And Alternative does exactly that. And yeah, I like the call out, Orion, because when you have a team composition like this, and you find yourself with a 5k gold lead at 15 minutes, you kind of feel like, hey, we don't really have to do anything. We can just sit back, maybe fight for objective bounties, but ultimately, they're just going to chill. Keep these lane advantages going, keep the farm leads happening, and keep building up those items and just wait for when their team comp ultimately comes online.
Yeah, and honestly, I think their team comp is so accelerated at this point in the game, and the enemy team comp is so far behind. They can very easily opt into continuing the plays they already are doing with, you know, Jarvan just showing up in mid lane, Cataclysm and B, no flash, already continuing to get a lot of kills. Doesn't have Cataclysm here though, but really good chain CC there from Llama and Bennett. Not having the Cho'Gath being able to move, you know, Cho'Gath not having flash there either. So once again, really solid plays by Hard Hat Zone, continuing to keep their pressure up with the gold that they do have. We do see Reedy in the bot lane trying to answer this top lane play, but I do think Hard Hat Zone can very easily just retreat from this bot lane, or they can even fight underneath the tower if they really, really want to. Reedy does base because they think, oh, there's nothing we can really do here, so let's try to save our top lane. Let's try to salvage that play a little bit. But Hard Hat Zone just getting so much here on these last couple of minutes with 2 top lane towers and 2 kills.
That is a value Rift Herald right there. Yeah, I mean, Reedy was thinking about maybe going for a play there in the bot side, but diving this Vayne and Braum with all of their summoner spells and their ultimates available, like you say, Orion, is a little bit risky. That being said, though, I do think that TA Knight have to find a way back into this game. They have to find a fight. They have to find something, right? Maybe it's a 4-man dive into the bot side. Maybe they can find a pick before this next dragon. Because, like you say, Orion, if they're just going to allow this game to slowly bleed out, then it's not going to look good for them in the long run at all.
No, not at all. They have to find a way to get themselves back into this game because with the scaling of Rise and Vayne, when you're already down 7k gold, they're just going to continue to accelerate what they already have, and not much you can really do to continue to punish the overall like lane. We do see Reedy
They've
trying to go
rotated
onto
5
he
into the
does
bot
have shield,
side.
though.
Oh my goodness, look at the answer here, though, from the squad. Llama in the front line's taking up some of the curtain call, trying to get the ultimate there back onto Big Boy, but now the Cataclysm will come out. It's only under the Cho'Gath. Llama actually has to run away from that one, but oh my goodness, the Cho'Gath just gets eviscerated, and now the rest of Hard Hat Zone are walking forward relentlessly. There's no tower for protection here from TA, but it looks like they found enough space to retreat from the fight. Unfortunately for them, the top laner's dead, and the Dragon is next.
Yeah, Dragon is next, which is going to continue to propel Hard Hat Zone just way further into this game and probably where they should be. You know, typically Rise just doesn't have this much power at 17 minutes in the game, but when you're 5-0-2 with pretty solid CS numbers, you're definitely going to be feeling really good about yourself. You know, potentially looking for a play here. He is rooted. Llama is in the area.
Oh my goodness, Alternative! They have families! Leave them alone, they just want to recall back to their base!
Yeah, unfortunately, they just recalled way too close. You know, Alternative just knowing the power of his champion, saying, "Hey, I wouldn't recommend recalling in my face with when I have Everfrost up, and I can just brute you twice." You know, Kobe potentially looking for a play here, but Bennett is pretty tanky.
Bennett is getting quite low here. It's going to be Reedy over the top. He's going to find the Everfrost, but his Cho'Gath does just go down. Ulveric, a sliver of HP, has to run away. And Alternative, still basically full HP, or at least 75%, doesn't even care. He's just going to keep pushing, keep dishing out those spells. He's got mana for days, and he is taking control of the Rift.
Yeah, Hard Hat Zone is in complete control here. You know, 9k gold lead at 18 minutes is almost unlosable at this point in the game, especially with the champions they have. They have Ornn continuing to scale up, bringing on ornaments later on in the game. You have Rise continuing to be super, super strong. And then also, we all know Vayne is the super carry she is when she hits 3 to 4 items. So this game is looking pretty easy here on out for Hard Hat.
Feeling a little done and dusted, Orion, at this point. We're looking at a pretty easy 2-0 here for Hard Hat Zone if they can complete the victory. I think the one thing that maybe TA can find a way back in this game is that playmaking. Like you say, they now have double Everfrost here on the Ahri and the Gragas. And that means with some of their long-range skills here, some of their long-range CC with the Deadly Flourish and stuff like that, maybe they can find some pickoffs and then look for a way back in the game. But even in a 4v5, I almost favor the Hard Hat Zone squad depending on who they can find with that pickoff. Maybe if they pick off Big Boy. Maybe if they can somehow find an angle onto Alternative, as actually Ulveric is a little bit alone here in the mid lane, just going to go down.
Yeah, they definitely do have potential to layer their CC to basically, they can kind of deal with anyone except for maybe Bennett at this point. I think Bennett would probably go to about half HP if all the CCs were layered by them. But the one thing that they do have is they do have, like you mentioned, the non-committal CC to where like Ahri can maybe dash in, throw a charm. Gragas can throw the explosive cast for range, potentially look to pick people off. But when your team is strong enough to do a 20-minute Baron on spawn and probably not take a whole lot of damage, this is looking quite rough on the side of TA Knight here. They do know this is happening by the ward, but they're not even coming close to contending for this Baron.
Yeah, no chance there for them. And Hard Hat Zone, I mean, they knew they were going to do that probably close to like a minute ago. They had that set up. They were in the area ready to go. Reedy was on the bot side of the map. A couple people in base there for TA as well. I mean, it's an easy Baron pickup. And like you say, Orion, yeah, when you're... Oh my goodness, is that an FF vote?
That is a surrender vote from TA Knight. Wow.
Oh, wow. All right. TA Knight say, yeah, all right, you got the 20-minute Baron. You're 19-5. You're up 11k gold on a scaling composition with a Rise, a Vayne, and an Ornn to boot. Take the victory. Hard Hat Zone, I think, well-deserved there on that one.
Yeah, you know, just really well done. You know, Hard Hat Zone continuing to show why they are the favorites of the CCS, continuing to dominate game after game. I haven't seen a game where Hard Hat Zone was close to an opponent.
Yeah.
Every game they've played has been complete control from them, dominating every single game. I really want to see a team from the Thursday group actually step up and, you know, sorry, I think Wednesday or Thursday.
They are Wednesday.
Yeah. A team from the Wednesday group to finally to show up and say, "Hey, we can compete with these guys," and show them that they're not just the boss that they are of this group.
Yep.
But until then, you know, Hard Hat Zone will be sitting very nice and pretty at the top of the standings in Wednesday's group. but I really want to see someone start to actually challenge this team.
We'll see. Yeah, it's interesting because last year in the CCS, we had a team go undefeated through the majority of the season. And then PGO managed to show how to beat them about 2, maybe 3 weeks before playoffs. I'm forgetting which team this was, so my apologies for that one. But and PGO kind of showed the recipe for how to beat them. So maybe Hard Hat Zone just need to come up against that opponent who, yeah, shows the strategy. Like, hey, this is how you beat these guys. Maybe it's something different in the mid lane. Maybe it's enchanter top lane, depending on if these teams want to try and whip out that sort of strategy. But maybe once we have
Yeah.
that recipe for success against Hard Hat Zone, then these teams can kind of try to mimic that and try to compete with them on a higher level.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, I definitely don't think this hard hat team is unbeatable. I think they are just having very strong lanes, and I think Llama is doing a fantastic job facilitating those lanes to do what they need to do later on in the game. I do want to see a game that is like close to the first 10 to 15 minutes,
Mm,
because I think most of Hard Hat Zone's games have been decided before even 10 minutes.
yeah.
Like in this game in particular, they had like a 4K gold at 10 minutes with the three scaling champions. Like that normally shouldn't happen.
Hmm.
I really want to see a team actually expose maybe like some of their later game decisions. Remember, like in the lock-in tournament, when like some of their games got a little bit extended, they had some like they were kind of just taking random fights in side lanes, like
Right.
propelling their games further and further than they probably should have went. So if those games were potentially closer, like keeping them between 1 to 2K gold margins at past 25 minutes, I really want to see if the team is able to challenge them at that point. But until I see that, Hardhead Zone is going to continue to dominate.
Yeah, Llama has really dictated the pace for these guys through the early stages. And once they have a couple kills under their belt, once they can unleash Dragon Mooncake, between Llama and Dragon Mooncake, they really can just take control of the map. I mean, they've shown it time and time again. So, Orion, I think you're absolutely right in that call out. It's about tracking Llama in the early game, not allowing him to influence these lanes as heavily. And then from there, also making sure that you're aware Dragon Mooncake is a huge playmaker. He wants to get out on the map. He wants to make those roams. Seems like Big Boy in a lot of scenarios is fairly comfortable playing in the 2v1 and farming up. And so I think as we start to see the strategies from Hard Hat Zone kind of continue to show up time in and time again, people will start to realize, hey, maybe there's a counter to this. Maybe we can follow Dragon Mooncake's roam and try to beat them in the 3v3 in the mid lane there. But that is going to do it for us here today, everybody. Orion, I know we only had one game, or well, maybe 1.5 games if you want to consider that first game half of one. Do you have an MVP for me here in this series?
Um, I would say MVP of the series probably goes to a duo of Llama and Dragon Mooncake. Those guys were constantly making plays all over the map. Llama went going towards the bot lane, enabling his support to roam with him into the mid lane, continuing to propel alternative and Big Boy down there in those lanes to help them function. Later on into the game, that's definitely the job of the jungler, especially when you have these scaling lanes. Like you want Rise to be really strong by 15-20 minutes. You want Vayne to not be so far behind at 15-20 minutes. You can actually take on some of these fights. And I think Llama and Dragon Mooncake did really, really well in the series.
All right. Well, congratulations to them, and congratulations to Hard Hat Zone for another victory here. They are undefeated through the first 2 weeks of the CCS. We'll see if someone can challenge them for the top spot, because right now they're looking like the kings. That is going to do it for us here tonight, everybody. Thank you for joining us for a nice little Saturday afternoon stream, and we will see you next week on Wednesday for some more CCS action.